So as some of you know, I sell one-to-one coaching and have a cheaper paid community too. But what if you have zero money, or you don't have a penny to invest in yourself right now? The fact is, you don't need money, you need a psychological change. And it's one of my goals to help as many people as possible, paid or not. So I wanted to make a fully comprehensive guide to help you no matter where you're at in life, either mentally or financially, so that you can change your life in 6 months. I'm going to talk about all the things that have literally changed my life over the last 3 years, from mindset to self-improvement and daily practices to spirituality and manifestation. I'm also going to give a list of the most impactful books I've read in that time that will aid you along the way. As I write this script, I'm flying over the Atlantic Ocean on my way to Texas with the love of my life, and things have literally never been better. My mind state, my happiness, my physique, my health, my relationships, my spiritual life, or my finances. And I'm so grateful. But sometimes I can't help but think, how the fuck did this happen? 3 years ago, I was a drug addict for 24 years. I survived a heart attack with my son in the bed, among other things. I'd had several bouts of homelessness, narrowly avoided prison, couldn't hold down a job, had zero money in the bank. I couldn't pay bills or rent because I was terrible with money, and I sabotaged all my relationships. So how did I get here? Well, stick around to the end of the video. It will be longer than usual, but I promise it will be worth it. This is probably going to be the best and most powerful video I've ever made, and I'll add each book I read at specific times in my journey at different points. So take a pen, make some notes, and leave a comment if you find any of this useful. Let's get into it. Okay, so step 1 in the process is something that I've spoken about before on this channel, and that is you need to have a mental break, or as MJ DeMarco calls it, an FTE, which is a fuck this event. That's where you say, do you know what, fuck this, I've had enough, I'm not fucking doing this again, this is going to be the last time this happens. You need to have that mental break, okay, because if you're not desperate enough for change to occur, it's just never going to. If you don't want something to happen bad enough, you're never going to follow through with it. So you have to be ready to change, okay? You have to be, broken in a sense to really make something happen. So that is step 1 in the process. You have to be fucking done with your situation. You need to be at breaking point where you just had enough. I used to feel like, why me? Why is this shit always happening to me? Why does this happen to me? It wasn't until later on, and with a lot of retrospect, that you start to realise that hardships are a blessing. Okay, every single thing that impacts you negatively, or any negative thing that happens to you in your life, is a blessing. It's something for you to learn from. It's something to build character. It's something to overcome, okay, and a lesson to be learned. And it's very, very powerful and very important that you realise that. A good book to read, and this is the book that I read when I was at this stage, was As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. One of the more life-changing books, without a doubt, that I've read. Step number 2 in the process, okay, and this isn't going to be the same for everyone, okay, but sobriety. When I was at that point where I had that mental break, obviously drugs and alcohol were a huge problem for me, okay? They were ingrained into my whole life. My parents did it. It was around me when I was young. So this was always going to be something that I had to work really hard to overcome, because it was just ingrained into every part of my lifestyle. So once you're at that point where you're breaking, you're like, do you know what, fuck this, I've had enough, I have to change. It became apparent that I had to get sober, because it was something I'd never ever been able to do. Now, a lot of people they'll use drink and drugs in different ways, okay? Some people can use them very recreationally once a week or once a month and not do them again, okay? That wasn't the case for me. And I feel like it's not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people will, overindulge on the weekend and convince themselves that they don't have a problem because they go the whole week without doing it, and then they go out and get smashed for 3 days every weekend. And because they're coping, they think it's not an issue for them, okay? But I mean, only you can really assess that, okay? Is it affecting your life? Is it affecting your relationships? Is it affecting your finances? Is it affecting your job? If the answer is yes to all of those things, then you probably have a problem, and that was certainly the case for me. So getting sober was the next step in the process for me. The book for this section is the book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, it doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic or not. It's not drink or drug specific. That book will help you no matter what your substance is, okay? No matter what it is, even if it's nicotine, okay, it can still help you. You do need somebody else to go through that with you, though. I mean, unfortunately, it's like, you know, when you go through the 12 steps of Cocaine Anonymous, it was in my case, you get a sponsor, someone to decipher the book. It's the language in it is, you know, a lot of it is kind of oldie worldy. It was like written 100 years ago, but that is the book that I read through this stage of the process, and arguably the most life-changing book I've read. Now, step number 3 in the process was self-improvement, okay? Because you've had your fuck this moment, you've got sober, you now need to redirect your energies and shift your focus into other things. If you're like me, okay, once you've wiped the slate clean, I call it, where you've got sober, you're working with a clean slate again, you're going to need goals, okay? You're going to need other things to concentrate on and fill that void. I mean, whether you're an addict or not, some people have I have like a kind of OCD thing where every single thing that I tend to really involve myself in, I get obsessed. I just get obsessed with it, okay? And I used to feel like this was a curse, but it's actually an absolute blessing. But you're going to need to fill that void, okay, with other things to distract yourself. So this is where you will really take up self-improvement. That will be going to the gym, concentrating on your diet, goal setting, also things like re-education, okay? Reading books, watching educational content, and also thinking about things like productivity. Now, I've got a great check sheet for this in the community that's ideal, okay? You basically need to monitor your time, okay? You can do this with a lot of things actually, but for productivity, you have to worry about your time. Where is your time going? How is it being spent? A lot of people that when they find self-improvement, they think, oh, it's all about just gaining muscle or trying to have sex with as many girls as possible, which for me, you know, it's not. I found it later in life. I feel like a lot of this has become more popular with younger men because sex sells, right? It's attractive. You see guys like Andrew Tate, or think of anyone in the space, you know, dressing in a fucking suit and sitting around drinking whiskey and smoking cigars and having sex with beautiful women. It's that kind of James Bond lifestyle. It's appealing for men, okay? But the point is that you need to understand when you're being sold to, when you're being manipulated, and when someone is genuinely trying to help you, okay? So try not to get wrapped up into that too much. I love a lot of self-improvement content. I do consider myself red pill, but I don't believe in having multiple sexual partners in one go. I don't believe in having multiple children with multiple sexual partners at one time. That's just not my beliefs. It doesn't resonate with me. So do your own due diligence with, you know, who you follow in that regard. But this is the time when you want to concentrate on your self-improvement, okay? Type of books that I've read through this stage would be things like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Unscripted by MJ DeMarco, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, even things like 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene or The Secret, all great books. Step number 4 in the process is daily practices, okay? Without daily practices and routines, it's going to be very hard to stick to things. I mean, anything. You have to work it into your routine, right? Now, things that I do every single day without fail are prayer and meditation, okay? This is like, whether you believe in God or not, I consider myself an atheist like for pretty much my whole life. Even though I went to a church school you know, I saw a lot of fucked up things. So like, it just didn't resonate with me, and until a final point where I was just like, suddenly, like, when I cleared out all of my system, I cleared out some of my trauma, and I got free from drugs and alcohol. Then I was able to feel things, okay? And that's very important. Feeling things like gratitude. Gratitude listing, again, is another really good daily practice. But whether you believe in God or not, or, you know, I'm not a fucking hippie. I don't use shea butter or put sea moss on my body or shit like that. I don't have a top knot. I don't wear sandals and socks everywhere I go, okay? But these are really useful practices, okay, to help you feel calm, to help you feel more relaxed throughout the day, to help you make better decisions. They're just incredible, okay? And if you were to do them for a sustained period of time, say even just a week, and then take a day off and monitor how you feel, you will see the difference, and you will see how much it's really, really worth doing, okay? So things like that. I mean, exercise, for me, it's not a daily thing. I do like a full body workout routine 3 days a week, and I do some cardio in between. Obviously, I'm walking around everywhere and stuff like that as well, so I count my steps. But, you know, exercise is not a fully daily routine for me. Reading, I like to do every single day, at least half an hour. You know, you can do it in the beginning of the day or do it before bed. Entirely up to you, but these are all great things, okay? And it's very important to have daily practices and routines, otherwise you are just driftwood, basically. Another thing that you should think about doing every day is maintaining positive relationships. And that, you know, when you get into this self-improvement space, I mean, I'm kind of an introverted extrovert, I guess, or vice versa. When people get into self-improvement, it can be very easy to get into that mind state of, oh, it's just me against the world, you know, I can do all this shit on my own. Like, you should never be alone, okay? But at the same time, you need your own space, okay? It's great to be alone, to think and to formulate your own ideas and opinions and just get to know you. Just take note of if you are segregating yourself off a little bit too much, okay? You don't want to be spending all of your days alone, okay? And even if you do like to be alone, it doesn't take anything to just pick up the phone and give someone a call. It doesn't matter if it's your friends or your parents or a sibling, it doesn't really matter. Just maintain the positive relationships, okay? Obviously, by that same token, you need to carve out any negative relationships. You should not be hanging around with people that don't make you feel good, that don't lift you up, that aren't a positive influence in any way, shape or form. Also, it's worth noting at this point, things to not do. Things that you should not be making a fucking habit out of. Things like doom scrolling, watching loads of short form content. Definitely don't need to be doing that. It's terrible for your brain. Things like gambling, no fap. You know, you just want to be taking all the distractions away, okay? You should not be forgetting about your goals, okay? Your goals are things that are going to keep you on track. You know, there should be nothing that takes you off of the course of your goals. Now, step number 5 in the process is learning about manifestation and the self, okay? This has been huge for me, absolutely huge. But understanding the creation process, okay? You're on a spiritual level, you create things first with your feelings, okay? And then your thoughts, and that becomes reality. If there is something that is wrong in your life as an adult, you are probably to blame. And that is a hard thing to swallow for a lot of people because they don't like to be held accountable. They don't like to hold themselves accountable to things. You know, people like to shift the blame onto other people. But you need to understand that you are creating your reality, not anybody else. So understanding that it's your feelings and thoughts that create your reality. Look at it like this, okay? When I was a drug addict, I was feeling negative all the time, okay? And because of that, I had negative thoughts. And then I created more and more negative experiences in my life. You could say, oh, you were a drug addict, you were not in your right state of mind, you didn't really know what was happening. But in reality, that may be true, but in reality, you know, I was feeling negative. I was feeling pain. I was feeling, you know, negative effects from my trauma that created negative thoughts. I was angry. I was creating more drama in my life. Okay, I was fighting when I didn't need to. I was creating dramas where there didn't need to be any. And it's all down to my own thoughts and feelings. So understanding that, okay, your main job is to feel good now. You have to feel as good as you can possibly feel now on any given day, okay? And that doesn't matter if it's diet, exercise, you know, meditation, all of these things, everything is connected, okay? All of these things come together and allow you to create more of what you want. On top of that, you know, people talk about manifestation like it's some kind of airy fairy thing. Okay, look, I'm just reached over, I just thought about doing something. Okay, so I visualize it in my head, I'm gonna pick that up. I just did it. Okay, I just fucking manifested. It's not a big deal. Like, it's just having a feeling, a thought, you know, a desire to do something and then doing it. That's all it is. But understanding and learning more about manifestation and yourself has been massive. Okay, books that I've read, you know, during the last 3 years that have related to that would be any Neville Goddard book. He's written lots of different books, but Neville Goddard, The Kabbalion by the Three Initiates, another massive life-changing book. Also, The Science of Being by Eugene Furson. It's like a 600-page book, but that's an amazing book as well. It's worth noting as well, like, you don't have to read a shit ton of books all the time, and it can be very, you know, we want to chase the next thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's an object or a thing or a girl or, you know, knowledge, okay? It's better, in my opinion, to read the really, really good books over and over than keep looking for that new book, because it's going to be disappointing. Like, all the books that I've mentioned in this video that I've read, you will know, like, when you start reading it, you're going to be like completely like consumed by it. Once you've read loads of books, you'll be like, oh, this is just fluff. This is just bullshit. This guy is just trying to sell something, or vice versa. You know, when the real knowledge is there, you will know, okay? And all the books that I've mentioned in this video have been those kinds of books where you just read it and you know that you're getting the real juice, okay? And the book that I'm reading at the moment is The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. He does lots of podcasts and stuff online now, but he's an amazing dude. And if you're a creative person, that book is absolutely priceless. And that's another one of those really good books. Like, I knew after a couple pages, I was like, this shit's fucking amazing. Listen, if there's anything in this video that you're not sure of, or you want to talk about any more, or any questions that you need to ask, please leave a comment. I do reply to every single one. Otherwise, guys, remember, it is your God-given right to be successful, and it's your responsibility to reach your potential.